Mythic heroes are set apart from their contemporaries, capable of amazing feats of courage in the face of overwhelming odds. In spite of this, they're still similar in many ways to other adventurers. They have hit points, an armor class, and saving throws. In fact, most of their statistics are comparable to non-mythic characters of an equal level. Where mythic characters differ is in the special mythic abilities. These abilities enhance mythic characters both in and out of battle, allowing them to take part in extraordinary, larger-than-life adventures. The old elf smiles when he hears your footsteps. Allow me to congratulate you on your victory, and on acquiring mythical powers capable of casting down the strongest of demons. I have decided not to, I'm afraid. My path and the path of the crusade lead in the same direction, but, alas, they are not yet one and the same. After the demons were driven away from Kenabers, the path into the world wound became open, if only temporarily. I'm planning on using this opportunity to visit. The elf falls silent. It doesn't matter now. I'd hate to bore you with the details of my venture, which may prove useless even for myself. However, I'll try to return to the Crusaders and aid them in their confrontation with the demons after I'm done. I hope to meet you again, in this world rather than the next. The storyteller carefully takes the page from your hands. His fingers touch the ancient letters gently, examining them lightly, following their lines. I see myself. Young, energetic, able to see. Oh gods, have I found the key to my past? Finally I will find out what my own mind has been hiding from me. The elf's expression becomes withdrawn. The wrinkles on his face soften. Thank you, Oxifog Meteor Stalker, and please, follow me to my story. Let us embark on this journey together. The storyteller inhales sharply a few times and begins his story. They are leaving. The people of Kyonin faced the coming earthfall and admitted that they were incapable of handling this disaster. Proud rulers, artful crafters, brave warriors, wise mages, and skilled healers, all of them hurried to the gate to Sabirian, looking around fearfully. A clean, safe world is waiting for them there. My people decided not to fight for Golarion. I am ashamed. And I am sorry for them, their hearts wavered in the face of the catastrophe. But my will is strong. I am staying. My kinfolk are looking at me angrily. How dare I diminish their decision with my recklessness? My choice makes them cowards, traitors of their own home. One of them, my former mentor, looks at me bitterly. He hands me a neat notebook with a tree bark cover. In case you change your mind. With a heavy sigh, he returns to the line of those departing. Forgive me, brothers and sisters. I watch the gate of the Sabirian stone close, separating me from them. It's time for me to go too. I open my master's notebook. These are his notes about traveling between worlds. In case you change your mind. He hopes the burden I shouldered voluntarily will be too much, I will lose heart and find my way to Sabirian. That will never happen. My mouth said stubbornly, I tear my master's notebook to pieces. I use my forced pride as a shield against my fear of what is to come. A magnificent crystal bent into an arch by a mighty hand of an ancient divine creator. Our great gate to other worlds. It breathes power. It dreams of eternity. I spent many hundreds of years in Kyonin. I have always admired the way my kinfolk cared for the forest that was our home. But the rest of the world seemed to mean nothing to them. But I love Golarion. All its places, all the forms it manifests in. I traveled widely and then came home and told my kinfolk about my travels. But they weren't interested. They only cared about Kyonin. Their lack of desire to hear about the wider world makes me sad and angry. The storyteller's lips purse with disdain. They are afraid to lose what they have. They were rulers, long-lived and powerful. They valued their lives and sunshine too much to enter the fight with the aftermath of Earthfall. Earthfall is the name given to the cataclysmic event in which a shower of meteorites impacted Golarion in -5293. It resulted in the destruction of the human empires of Thassalon and Aslant, which were consumed by earthquakes and massive tidal waves, and the creation of the Inner Sea. The cloud of dust thrown up by Earthfall's impact settled in Golarion's upper atmosphere and blotted out the sun for 1,000 years, creating the Age of Darkness. Yes. I am an archmage, and this title is well deserved. I have acquired delicate mastery and succeeded in many areas of magic. But curiosity has always pushed me toward new knowledge since the first day of my apprenticeship. Earthfall happened at night. I am standing at the top of my tower, many miles to the north of Kyonin, and I see a blaze far in the south. I hear a horrendous rumble, the air is groaning, giving way to a huge rock, rushing down on my world. And then, a blow. Vibration that penetrates everything, reaching down into the bowels of Golarion and up to the vaults of the sky. Crunching bones, blood from burst vessels filling my eyes with darkness. Drowning in timelessness along with countless denizens of Golarion. Never before have we been so united in our feelings. When I come round, the darkness remains. My first terrible thought, I'm blind. But no, little by little I begin to see the stone wall. I am alive. But why is it so dark? The answer is quick, the smell of ash everywhere. The great burnt sacrifice filled the air with incinerated particles of what was recently the continent of Island. Great clouds of ash covered the sky, cutting us off from the sun and the moon, dooming us to dusk at day and complete darkness at night. My heart sinks with fear. Treacherous thoughts fill my mind. Why did I stay? Why didn't I run like everyone else when I had the chance? I clench my teeth and stand up to watch Earth fall, proudly, like the last archmage of Kyonin should. Will my world really perish like this? Will I perish? No. That will never happen. I am still alive, and I can fight Earthfall and the darkness. Not run from it in a blind panic like my kinfolk and my cowardly teacher. But what can I do? I will not stop the disaster, I will hardly be able to save empires from their destruction. What can I do? I am but one archmage, powerful and weak at the same time. A disaster of untold proportions. An unborn planet dropped on Golarion by blind fate or someone's evil will. A blow so strong that the continent of Island is destroyed within moments, turned to ashes, wiped off the face of Golarion. In this burnt sacrifice, clouds of ash and dust are born, stealing our sun. Without the warmth of our star, the air cools, the soil is barren, dark creatures crawl out of their lairs to rule. And the most frightening thing, without the sun, all hope dies in the heart. This is the age of darkness. The 1,000-year period in which the sun's light was blocked by the ash knocked into the atmosphere by the meteoric impacts of Earthfall. It began with the rain of meteorites summoned from the sky by powerful magic in -5293 and lasted until the sun's light had been restored, roughly a millennium later. During the Age of Darkness, all major civilizations across Golarion were destroyed, ushering in a time of anarchy and destruction. It's my retreat to the north of Kyonin. My home away from home, my observatory. From its top, I watched the stars and, when they were correctly aligned, the other worlds as well. Here in the northern wastelands, I found the highest mountain and built a tower on top of it. On clear days I could see the mist over the lake of mists and veils in the east, that's how high I was. I don't know, I need to think. My opponent, Earthfall, is much stronger than me. Without noticing, the storyteller raises his voice to a shout. It is merciless. It does not simply destroy life, it kills an era, ending the greatness of Golarion civilizations. They will sink into oblivion, be forgotten as if they never existed. I need to think. The elf suddenly winces and is silent for a few moments as he calms his heavy breathing. Forgive me. I shouldn't have raised my voice. This story was much harder than many before it. Most likely because I played the main role in it. It is so strange to see myself, feel the emotions tearing me up inside, those that I felt a long time ago, and not remember them. It's like I split, I became both the storyteller and the main character. Too bad the story ended at that moment. Please, if you find other pages covered with ancient elven writings on your travels, bring them to me. I might be able to shed some light on my past, and we will find out how my story ended, and perhaps even why I forgot it. Thank you for helping me remember them.
Now what? Don't know, don't care.
Book the second of the astonishing exploits of Venture Captain Hyler, published by the Pathfinder Society. The skeptical ranger followed Hyler, who skirted the glade and cautiously surveyed the forest around them. If you're hoping to find someone here, Captain, you're wasting your time. The needle glens are totally uninhabited. A wild animal might stray into these parts, but there are no people here. Tell me, began the Venture Captain, drawing out the words, what is the secret to this place? The World Wound is a stone's throw away, but the needle glens look like an ordinary, healthy forest. No bubbling mold on the ground, no trees that are identical down to the last leaf, no trace of demons whatsoever. The ranger answered after a long pause. I don't know for sure, Captain. But people have different theories. Some say that the needle glens are cursed by forces that came to this world before the demons, horrible creatures that could addle your mind with a single look. People say that's why the demons avoid this place, they're afraid. Hyler scoffed. His guide's tale was surely nothing but a cock and bull story, but the idea of his quarry hiding at the very heart of a place thought to pose a dire threat to her, well, he couldn't help being tickled by that. The spinner of nightmares' trail led here, to this strange wood, there was no doubt about that. But how did she ever find the way here? Hyler fished his tracker's monocle out from the depths of his pack, clipped it on his nose, looked up, and let out a full-bellied laugh. I can't fault the harridan for her ingenuity, but she might have changed up her nasty tricks, knowing the arsenal I carry. Follow me. The ranger scoffed in disbelief. The forest remained as much a mystery to him as before, but Hyler's gaze, directed as it was through the eye of truth, effortlessly picked out the magical notches on the tree trunks, leading to an as yet unknown destination.
Move aside!
Ah, there you are, you dashing troublemaker, you. Duran flashes you a self-satisfied smile. Our short acquaintance is coming to an end. Very soon, you will depart on your crusade, where you'll scrape by on horrible rations, struggle vainly to fall asleep amidst snoring soldiers, be rudely awoken by the freezing cold, and have to look upon the dour faces of self-righteous prigs, before you finally perish in the maw of some demon. I have a journey ahead of me, too. I've just rented a sailboat in the south. I've also hired an excellent chef. And a host of other entertainments. Well, to each their own, I suppose. Duran pauses, then suddenly adds in a more serious voice. You know, I am genuinely sad to see you go. If it sounds like mockery, forgive me, I cannot switch off my venom gland on a whim, you see. But you intrigue me. If only we could have spent a little more time together. But of course, Duran grimaces. Not under these conditions. Let the Crusaders and the demons have at each other. With any luck, they'll take this entire sanctimonious spectacle down with them. Victory in Drazen. Your optimism is so charming. Duran smirks, then seems to start slightly. He continues in a more even tone. Well, should you prove lucky enough to survive, by some miracle, come and find me. Perhaps I shall even remember you. No promises, though. In any case, I intend to wait until the army departs. I do love a good send-off. Especially when it is I who is staying and someone else who is heading off to meet a dreary and hopeless end. Sometimes it does one good to ruminate on the unfairness of life. Well then, farewell, Commander. I assume I shall be your most precious memory on this most disgusting and exhausting road to the pointless slaughter of battle. Or, if not the most precious memory, then at least the most stirring. Duran smirks before instantly losing all interest in you, or at least he pretends to.
Make way! much longer, I wonder? Follow me, or don't.
A group of soldiers is talking loudly, laughing joyfully, and passing around a flask.
So picture this, my sword is by the fire, there's 2 goblins about to snatch it, and 3 more are digging through my tent, and I'm sat in the bushes wearing just my mail shirt, wondering what the blast to do. An old mercenary taught me about the mail shirt. You can't sleep in armor, but it's not so bad in mail, once you get used to it. Too bad no one told me not to go into the bushes without my sword.
So what did you do?
What did I do? I barked like crazy. Goblins are afraid of dogs, you know. So they all went wild and started running around. I spot my sword, and they spot me. So I jump over to the fire, wearing nothing but my mail shirt, and I grab my sword and I yell in my big tough voice, "Oh Inheritor, grant me the power to crush these filthy creatures." My sword's shining, the goblins are screaming, I jump to attack them, and they fight back. But I fought them off somehow. But ever since then I never take a step without my weapon.
Sela takes a sip from the flask. Ha ha ha. That's some story. Hey, stop gulping. Leave some for us.
We've only just set off, and you're already drinking? And with the queen in the camp? Stop this at once.
The knights quickly snap to attention. Sela raises the flask and says loudly.
Right you are, Commander Tirabade. We are but drinking to the queen's health. Allow me to remind you, Paladin, that you are in an army, not a band of mercenaries. Foolishness impairs discipline. Too much fun at the camp can turn into losses on the battlefield. With all due respect, Commander Tirabade, I answer to the Knight Commander, not to you. The fact that we're fighting together doesn't give you the right to discipline me like a sergeant disciplines a recruit.
Good day. Do you remember me? I'm Jernot, we spoke in the Defender's Heart. So, you're the commander of the crusade now. Erastil knows it's hard to imagine someone worthier of taking up the post than the savior of Canobers. May the good gods help you prevail. What I was bound to do under my holy orders, I healed the wounded and buoyed up the healthy to fight another day. Don't take it amiss, but no, I haven't. I have my own task. I am needed in Chili Creek, a tiny hamlet which, due to some oversight, has been left without a priest these many years. I'm about to set sail for there. I'll be making my journey along Old Man Selen. May Erastil watch over you. The burly soldier with an impressive beard greets you with a broad smile. Wilser Garms, the camp quartermaster, at your service. How may I be of help? A little bit of everything. What's an officer to a soldier? A strict father. So what does this make a quartermaster like myself? Something like their mum, that's what. I make sure the lads have everything they need to defeat the enemy and come back from battle in one piece. Wilser starts ticking off his fingers. That means food, firewood, medicine, tents, mended clothes, fixed weapons. The horses have got to be fed and watered, the camp's got to be fortified by the evening and broken up by the morning. I make sure the wages are paid on time and the wagon wheels don't squeak. And then there are reports. Gods, until you asked, I never realized how many duties I actually had. The quartermaster looks away sheepishly. There isn't much to tell, really. I was born in Canobers, in a humble family. I got an education, taught myself to read and write. Got drafted into the army, spent 3 years as a shield bearer in the first line. I left after I did my time and joined the Stonemasons Guild, then moved on to the shipwrights and rose to a crew chief. Sailed to Ioberia twice and returned with goods. Made some money, built a house, but haven't started a family yet. I think I will after we are done with this war. But a few years ago, something started gnawing at me. I got this feeling like I needed to go home, that there was a storm headed for my native city. And when there's trouble in Mendef, there's only one thing to do, you go to the recruiter and sign up for the army. And so I did. At first they wanted to make me an infantry sergeant, but then they decided I'd be a better fit in the supply department. I can take care of army property, and I'm pretty handy around a warehouse, not to mention I know how to manage a band of helpers. And so that's how I became a quartermaster. Wilser gives you a shy smile and shrugs, as if this were a wholly unremarkable story typical of any crusader. They mostly tell tales about your unusual power, but they don't shy away from talking about you as a person, too. Soldiers are always like that. If Iomede herself descended from heaven, you bet they jabber on about how she grips her sword and how good she looks in her armor. Word is you've spent more time in the wilderness than in cities. That you can read tracks on the ground better than any book, and tell the weather 3 days ahead by the shape of the clouds. And that means that following you into the wound isn't a scary thing to do.
Move aside.
The queen greets you with a stare. She has dropped the pompous air with which she just announced the Fifth Crusade. The face of the ruler of Mendef appears calm and thoughtful. She has made her move and now awaits her opponent's reply.
Commander, I'm satisfied with the troop review, but I do not expect they will be sufficient for the task. You will have to prove yourself a shrewd leader and hire the necessary troops with the provided funds. I have chosen a target for your campaign, and that target is Dresden, our lost outpost within the World Wound. The Sword of Valor was kept there, a banner that was once carried by Iomedae herself. Our greatest relic was lost when the city fell. I should make one thing clear from the start. The Sword of Valor is no mere symbol, but a powerful weapon against demons. The holiness of the banner weakens them and robs them of one of their most dangerous abilities, teleportation. A forced march to Dresden awaits you. The Sword of Valor is kept somewhere within the Citadel. The demons probably think it's a hunting trophy. Its recovery is just as important as retaking the city itself. I hope the task is clear. I'm sending 2 specialists to help you, along with the soldiers. A historian, Nura Denduar, and a cleric, Soziul Bainik. One of the famous inquisitors of the Church of Iomedae also wants to talk to you. The Honorable Leota, whom everyone calls Hawkblade.
I do not wish to keep you, Commander. The matter I must discuss with you is extremely important, but it is not directly related to the Crusade. You no doubt wish to meet your new comrades and speak with Her Majesty. Therefore, I shall leave you now, but I ask that you seek me out in the camp at your earliest convenience.
Hi! Listen, it's amazing here. It's like I'm in a ballad. There's knights in shining armor, deadly dangers, glorious feats. We are going to show those demons! I'm so tired of sitting in a library reading books about history. It's time I took part in it!
I'm glad to help our cause, Commander. If you have some time later, I'd like to speak with you further.
You'll have plenty of time to talk. You're the Knight Commander's people now, his trusted advisors and companions. Now then, will you please leave us? Irabeth, you can go too. Some actions may be deemed bold, or even extreme, and beyond those, there are some you might call the Queen's last resort. I am not a simple monarch. I am at war with the Abyss, a war which has lasted over 100 years. I cannot allow myself the luxury of caution. In you, I see a chance, and I am willing to stake everything on it. However, you cannot blame me for putting you in charge of the Crusade. I only formalized what had already happened in the hearts and minds of many. People spoke of the power that descended upon you and helped you save the Wardstones from corruption and total destruction. Word of this feat quickly spread far beyond the borders of Mendev. There was no other person who could better fit the role of Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade. I had guessed as much. Many angels fought alongside us in the First Crusade. Heaven was unable to mobilize its full might to aid us, but individual Celestials volunteered to fight for our cause. Then one day, they all vanished, saying that they were setting off on an important mission. Not long after, Iomedae's herald erected the first Wardstone in Canopris, and then the others in cities across Mendev. Even back then, I had nagging doubts, but my faith in Iomedae easily assuaged them. It is for us to serve the goddess after all, not to question her works. In any case, I am glad you did not allow the demons to commit sacrilege and gain control over the Wardstone in Canopris. We might have lost one of the Wardstones, but the chain is still standing. Lariel. I knew him. He disappeared shortly before the World Wound grew, and Dresden fell into the enemy's hands. In the chaos, we had more important concerns than investigating the fate of a single angel, even one so righteous and beloved as Lariel. And afterward, matters took a turn for the worse. The angels left us to go on their special mission. It is so strange to hear the names I used to hear when I was young, like getting a message from the past. It is sad news, but it brings me back to the times when we strongly believed in our victory, and we rushed headlong toward it without fear. Could it be that such times have come again? Overlooking a spot of insubordination just at the moment. However, I shall answer you. I shall prepare the defenses at Nerosian and all the other border cities and plan the future of the Fifth Crusade. Does that satisfy your curiosity, Knight Commander? Of course. Of course. I shall answer. Now you are talking like a real Knight Commander. However, answering your question is not easy. To win this war, we must bar the demon's way. There are a few planar rifts leading to the abyss across the territory we call the World Wound. The best specialists we could find have tried to close them on separate occasions, with no success, as you may have guessed. The World Wound is more than just a chain of portals to the abyss. We do not understand its nature yet. The methods of rift closure known to magical science simply do not work here. However, we have a hypothesis, and a rather well-grounded one, that we must begin at the source of the problem, the place where the World Wound was opened. The main rift lies through the city of Iz and the Threshold Fortress, deep in the former lands of Socorus. We have never managed to fight our way so far and gain a foothold to allow the mages to explore the origins of the World Wound. So, the next step, after you succeed in Dresden, is an offensive push deeper into the World Wound, with the aim of reaching Threshold, the very threshold of the Abyss. Everyone we saw today at the parade. First among them, the Eagle Watch, who remain a powerful force thanks to Irabeth's resourcefulness. Also marching with you are several minor knightly orders, as the minor volunteer units like to be called. And finally, I have personally selected some recruits from Nerosian. They have little in the way of battle experience, but great determination and a thirst to prove themselves. I've always thought that an army benefits from at least one such unit. These forces, as I said, are not enough for a march on Dresden. You will have to hire additional troops with the funds that have been provided to you. But for a brave commander, and I hope you are one, that is just the beginning. If you retake Dresden, recover the holy power of the Sword of Valor, and gain a foothold in the region, then new armies will join under your banner. The Fifth Crusade is only beginning. Many battles and victories lie ahead. We have a chance now that we haven't seen in decades. But it's more than that. You created this chance for us by foiling the demon's plans in Canabris. The army who attacked the city came straight from Dresden. Demon hordes from the Abyss are usually encamped there, but many of them perished on the streets of Canabris. We must attack swiftly before they can restore their forces. When the city is free and the Sword of Valor appears before our soldiers, they won't be sending in any more reinforcements. Demons cannot teleport into an area protected by the banner of the goddess. That's a good question. Its walls were built by dwarf craftsmen, and the power of the Sword of Valor protected the city. Alas, where raging hordes failed, a single lying tongue was all they needed to succeed. The demoness Minago convinced a young and ambitious crusader named Staunton Vane that the banner belonged on the battlefield. He went on a daring and unapproved raid, and the banner ended up in the enemy's hands. The city fell soon after. Ever since then, for 7 decades, it has served as a citadel for the forces of the Abyss. Oh, really? I wasn't informed of this. After Dresden fell because of Staunton, he was nearly sentenced to death. He deserved it. In wartime, men are hanged for far less. But you have no idea what a terrible sight it is. A raging crowd of crusaders baying for blood. Never have my fighters looked so much like the demons we are fighting. I commuted Staunton's sentence and stripped him of his rank. Not just for him, but for my army and my country. We are not Hell Knights. We do not maintain discipline with public executions. Perhaps exile would have been a more merciful sentence than decades of service among those who despised him. I was hoping he might atone for his guilt with a heroic act, but he likely decided that atonement was impossible, and he might as well give himself over to evil. Wonderful. Splendid. Ah, yes. We have one final matter to attend to. It should be rather enjoyable. Count, there you are. You received my instruction?
I did, though I did not have time to read the thing before I was dragged before your majesty. In truth, I was readying myself to depart.
No matter. I trust you will forgive your sovereign for the rather brusque summons, especially when you learn what prompted it. As you are aware, he has recently been appointed my Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade. I spent a long while pondering whom to appoint to the highly sensitive post of Commander's Field Attaché and Advisor Plenipotentiary without portfolio. Congratulations, Count.
It is a great honor, I suppose.
I knew you would approve, Commander. I had my doubts about whether you were ready for such a responsibility, Count, but your conduct in Kenobris has put my mind at ease. So, you will travel with the troops to Dresden. Only the Commander may remove you from your post. But I trust that you will dutifully fulfill his orders and make a good showing of yourself. Especially since word of your appointment, Count, will reach the court at any moment. All of Mendev's nobility will be following your successes in service to the nation, including all of your devoted admirers. I even heard that one bard with whom you are particularly friendly has already begun composing a ballad to honor your heroic participation in the crusade and your faithful service to the commander here.
Truly knows no bounds, dear cousin. I am most gratified by the honor you have shown me.
Then let's get going. May Ayomade help us.
Anevia sweeps an inquisitive glance over you.
So tell me straight, how'd that brawl at the Grey Garrison end? I heard the rumors, of course. That's kinda my job, you know, to listen. You've no idea what cobblers the Crusaders say about you. Some say that Iomade came to you and appointed you her herald. Others say that you died, and an honest-to-God's angel is now leading the army disguised as you. Still others say it was just an explosion at an alchemist's lab, and I'm the one spreading rumors about your powers. I wish. But you really have changed since the Grey Garrison. It's hard to describe, but you've become kinda.
Anevia waves her hand, trying to find the word.
More dangerous. I have a gut instinct about these things. If I didn't, I'd already be dead. You're dangerous, Commander, and by Desna I hope you'll be dangerous to our enemies, and not to us, or to yourself. Alright. You watch yourself now.
I don't need anyone's sympathy. Make way!
I don't know, Commander. She never introduced herself, but I bet she's not a part of our army. I know all our soldiers by name and by sight. Wilser frowns gloomily, his cordiality gone in an instant. She was looking for some elf volunteer. Wanted to know which tent he was sleeping in. At first I thought she was a messenger from Mendef, she definitely wasn't one of us. But now I see how it all looks mighty shifty. The quartermaster eyes you with concern. She was some sort of spy then.
Greetings.
The neat smile on Camelia's lips disappears so quickly you almost wonder if you imagined it. Camelia shrugs nonchalantly.
People of noble descent grow accustomed to ample opportunity. The powers I received from you are useful, but I see no point in treating them with excessive piety. I won't keep you.
The dawning smile on Camelia's face freezes and quickly dies away.
How much longer, I wonder?